Hello everyone, we are starting the new topic RStudio and R Markdown. So you will be learning how you can write programs so you can analyze some data. So basically you will be learning how you can write programs in R and RStudio. They both are same, but RStudio you will see we have more options that we can apply, and R is a plain environment. RStudio is way better, but we need both to write the program. And then basically we will be using R Markdown. This is more like writing a documentation. So you will see how we can write a program and then how we can write our description, just like in Word file. So I will talk about that. And then you will be also familiar with programming terminologies and the concepts of programming, and familiar with importing and exporting different types of data file within R. You will see that if you learn R in many other languages, you will see that there are similarities. So it's always good to learn one programming language, feel comfortable writing programs, and then you will see how easy it is to convert to another program. And summarizing data, and later on you will learn how we can create some publication quality graphs. So all sorts of things you will be learning in this course. So you will see that in this lecture slide, the first one, I basically started talking about how you can initiate R, but at first we need to install R and then RStudio. So if you start installing, you need to install R first, then you can install RStudio. Based on your system, you need to identify what's the installer you are going to use. So you will see that I gave you step-by-step installation process, and you can take a look at this when you are working on installing them. So for installation, I also gave you installation process step-by-step in here as well on Canvas page. So you can see our first step is to install R based on your operating system. If you use Mac, then you will be watching this video, the second one. I found this YouTube video might be really useful for you. Previously I also gave students this site, and they installed using this site. Also on Windows you can install using this video, but you will see that they're using previous version of R. So all you need to do is to go to install R site. Let's say I just go in there, and then you can see for R you have to go to the download R, and you can select. So you can select which country you are in, and then later on you will see that it's also asking you to choose the location or maybe the university. So you can choose the nearby universities or nearby places. So after successfully installing R, then you need to install RStudio, because without R, RStudio is not going to work. To install RStudio, you can say I gave you the site information. So we are going to use the free RStudio desktop version. So you can go to the download, and then you can start downloading and then installing RStudio. If you find that installing R is really problem for your system, then you can ignore this first part, the installation part. Then you can go to cloud-based if you feel comfortable. So on the cloud-based, you can basically install without installation. You can work on the cloud and then write the program. So on the cloud-based, you need to go to this site, and you need to sign up. So for signing up, you can use any email address. You can use any name. You don't need to use your registered name. You can just sign up. So let's say you sign up using your any name or any email address. So I already signed up, so for me it's only I need to So when I logged in on my RStudio Cloud page, I need to create a project. So let's say I create a project. If I say new project on my workspace, so you have some space to work on. So let's say I just clicked on the workspace. If I don't want to install RStudio, then I am working on the cloud based. It takes some time to open a new project. So you can see I created a new project. This is the R window. So that means you can work on this window, and basically it is RStudio. So that means everything is already installed. You are just using the cloud-based programming. So your project it has no name, so you need to give it a name. So let's say practice, and then I would say 15. You can just give it any name. I just gave it a name, and then I can start writing the programming here. If you are installing R, then you need to open the RStudio. If you installed R, then let's open RStudio file. So since I have some files, so you can see this is just the on my desktop. I installed RStudio. So this is how it's look like. That means we have few windows where we need to write our program. So you can see this is the desktop version of R. If I go to web-based R, so you can see it's almost similar. So that means we have three windows in here, and then we can write our program on the coded area. And on the right side, you can see we have some global environment. On this environment, we will be uploading, and we will be adding our data sets, or if we create any vector or create any matrix, create any data sets, everything will be listed in here. So on the desktop version, it's the same. The data set we will have, it will be listed in here, and then other options are on this side. So that's why you will see that on the Canvas page, I gave you this one. So that means whenever we write the program on the left side, on the coded editor, we write the program, and then our working workspace and history, everything on the right side. Also we have the plots and files, everything is listed in this site. So that means it divides into different areas. So I gave you a little bit of the R and RStudio basic and RStudio history, and then the different parts of our Studio page. So let's say on RStudio, we are looking at 4 different windows. That is where we are going to write the code, where we are going to see the output, and then where we are going to keep our data set, and where we are going to see the plots or files. So let's see in our cloud-based and desktop version how it looks like. So on the desktop version, we can directly write our programming here. Let's say I want to remember a name X, and X, let's say less than or equal. So in R, we have to equal is actually less than or equal sign. So you always need to use this sign, and it's less than or equal 50. So let's say another one is Y, variable name Y, variable is 20. So if I want to find what is the X plus Y, it directly gives me the output. So that means it's showing you everything in here. If I close this page, the program will be gone. To avoid that, we need to create a page where we will save everything. To do that, we will be using R Markdown file. So that means we need to create a file where we need to write down our program, so it will be saved. If we close it, we can go back to it later. To open any R Markdown file, you need to go to File, New File, then R Markdown. File, New File, R Markdown. Let's create R Markdown file. So you will see that it takes some time. So it says that would you like to create R Markdown file? Would you like to install packages? You need to say yes, because it takes some time to install many packages for creating R Markdown in your machine. Because if you never created it at first time, well, at the beginning, it will install many packages. So let's say yes. So while it's installing in here, so let's go to our web-based. So if you are working on the web, that means RStudio Cloud, we'll be doing the same thing. So that means we need to go to File, New File, and R Markdown. File, New File, R Markdown. Same thing on the RStudio on the cloud. It takes some time, same thing. So it actually installs some packages. You have to say yes to install. It's the same thing on the desktop version and cloud version. Say yes. So you will see that it will install the packages, and then there will be a page in here. Okay. So let's go to the desktop version. So you can see in desktop version it says that would you like to add a title. So let's say practice 1, and you can write down your name. Write down my name. HTML is fine, and say OK. Now you can see it creates a page. So on the web page, same thing is happening. So you need to give it a title. So let's say practice 1, and then my name. So right now I'm on the web page. HTML is fine. So okay, it takes time to create the page. So now you can see we have the page. So you can see I resized them, and I would like to show you that this is the web page, this side, the left side, and the right side I have the desktop version. So that means they are exactly same. So we have where we are going to write the program, where we are going to see the output, and where we are going to see the data sets. Only difference is this part. So on the cloud based, we need to upload the data in here, and then we need to transform them over here. I will show you later. But on the desktop version, we only need to keep our data set on a folder. So I'll talk about it later. So you can see on the web page I saved it because we have the name of the data, but on the desktop version I did not save it yet. So we need to save always. So you can see it's in a red color. That means it's never been saved. It's untitled. So we absolutely need to save them. So whenever we are saving them, it says that where you want to save them. That's the difference you will see. On the web page, it's not going to ask you where we are going to save them. Actually, I did not save it, so I need to save it. So on the desktop version, you need to choose a folder. So let's say on the desktop version, this is the most important part. You need to select the appropriate folder where you are going to saving them. So let's say for me, I'm working on this lecture in a different file in class, and let's say I would like to save it here. So let's say practice 1. That's what I'm calling it. Practice 1 and save. Same thing on the web page. So save, and file name, let's say, is practice 1, and say save. So you will see that it will be saved in here, and then the file extension, that means the type of file is RMD file. So that means this is the RMD file we saved. So when you saved in a desktop version, then it will be saved in here on the folder. So you can see on the folder it's saved as an RMD file, .rmd, and it should be, whenever you will be working on any data file, try to remember that in the desktop version you need to save everything in one single folder. If everything is in one single folder, then there shouldn't be any problem. Most important part. Okay, so on both version, all we need to do is that we need to remove this part. Same thing on the desktop and cloud version, remove them, and then you need to save. So on both we need to save. Okay, after doing that, we need to add, you need to insert R file. You can see we can actually use SQL, we can use Python, we can use other program, but we are going to use R. So that means in this chunk we are going to write our program. Same thing, hit enter, insert on the cloud based, insert and R. That means in here we are going to write the program. Okay, so let's write a program in the desktop version. So let's double click them, and the desktop version I'm going to write a program. So let's say previously we were writing x equal, so you have to use less than or equal sign in R. So let's say it's 23, or is less than or equals 5, and z is another variable where we are going to add these two. Then we are asking R, what is z? To run any program, you can run everything in here, that means running the current chunk, or you can select them and then run selected from here. So either way it's fine. So let's say we run the program. So you can see it says that y cannot be found. Why is that? Because I added an extra space, so there shouldn't be any space between the less than or equal sign. So let's run the program again. So now you see that it says z is 28. So that means it's showing me the output. If I say what is x, select and then run the program. Now you see that it says that x is 23. So if I select these two and then run selected lines, it says as z is 28, x is 23. So that means right away it's showing you the output on the bottom area. Anytime you can just close them if you want. So you can see whenever we are creating these variables on the coded area, it saves in here, and we need to save it always. And then you can see that the variables we created, everything is listed on the global environment. So on this page you need to click on the console so that you can see the console. That means what you actually run, what you tried every time you run this program, everything is listed on the console. And then you can keep your cursor here if you want to know what I wrote previously. You need to use your drop down arrows on your keyboard and save. So you can see it's whatever we wrote, everything is shown here, or you can just write it in here. So let's say I would like to know what is x. So if I just write x and hit enter, then you can see x was 23. That means on the console right away it's giving you the output. Also all your variables or data set, everything you ran in here, it's listed here. So if you want to run it again, then you can run everything again from here. That means from this R chunk. So that means in RStudio we have the coded area where we write the program in R Markdown, and then we have the workspace history. That means everything is listed on here, the variable or data set that we are going to create. all the files will be saved on our plot and files area, and what we run in the coded editor we can see in here. Also we can type any program in here and then we can get the output right away. So R Markdown is really simple and easy to use, and it produces the report. I will show you later how you can produce report in Word or PDF or HTML version. And you can also write the documentation. So I will show you next how you can write the documentation in R Markdown. So I explained how you can initiate R Markdown, so you can follow in here. Also in this video you can see how I created in the desktop version, also in the cloud version, so you can use either of them. And here is a video that I found from YouTube. It might be useful for you. You can take a look. Also on this site, if I take you to this site, you will see that how R Markdown works. It also gave you an instruction. That means you can take a look at this video as well if you want to know more about R Markdown. I also gave you some a cheat sheet that you can use for easy to use. So let's click on that and open it. So you will see that in R Markdown where everything is, and what are the easy programming tools that we can use, everything is listed here. So we will be basically using this part. How we can add, just like in Word file, in header 1, header 2, all these hierarchies, and then how we can list items. We will be using all of them in our program. So I gave you a task to do. So in R Markdown, I gave you an R Markdown file. You can use this file, or you can directly create an R Markdown file in the R Markdown file. So write these codes. So that means I said I created some variables, then I would like to plot them, and then I have to save it, save all of them, clean the data. That means if there is anything that we don't need, we need to clean them, and produce a Word or maybe a PDF or HTML file. So these are the output files you will get. So let's see what we can create. So let's copy the code and let's type it in here. Let's remove this, or you can just keep this part and add another chunk. Insert R. Over here we are going to create X variable, Y variable. So you can say I already created X variable. Since I am creating it again, it will remember the last one, 32. It's not going to remember the previous one. So let's say I remove the first one and say this is a documentation, and then let's say intro. So if I use one hashtag, that means that's heading 1, just like in Word file. So it is introduction. Introduction. We are writing some basic program in R. So whenever we are writing anything without any hashtag or anything, it thinks that this is actually a paragraph. But whenever we add a hashtag and give it a space, it thinks that this is heading 1. If you have any heading 2, then you have to use double hashtag. So let's say I wrote this program and I run this program. So that means it creates the variables and it tries to plot them. So it plots X versus Y. We only plotted one value. Also on the so let's close them, and we created a file, and then we save them. Then we need to say neat. See, there is a drop down option. So neat to Word, neat to PDF, or neat to HTML. So you can just say at first neat to Word. Now you can see it creates Word file, so we need to change the layout. So I just changed the layout, and now you can see that was the title. I added my name and which date, and introductory file. This is the heading 1, so you can see this is heading 1, and then this is actually paragraph in the first paragraph style, and this one is the output that we got from this plot. That's how you will be working in the desktop version. Same thing in the web-based. So let's copy this code on the web-based, paste the program, and then do the same, copy and then paste in here and save it. Knit to Word. Whenever we are knitting to Word on the web-based, so it says that whether you want to download the file, because it's not linked with your desktop. So if you want to download, you say download file, then you will see that it's downloading the file. Same thing, same file. And let's close it. So on the web-based, you will see that it's also listed on your files area. So that means this is the file. Anytime you need them, you can just select and you can download. I think you can download to export. If I say export, then it says okay, I'm exporting the file, and then export as a zip file since we are using 2. So if you just select 1, then go to export, it exports, and then you can download. So that means whenever you are giving us the file, if you are working on the cloud, you need to download them, then you need to upload on the Canvas page. So if you are working on the desktop version, everything you will see that where you kept your R Markdown file on the folder, everything will be saved there. So that means this is the Word file that I'm working on. So it will be saved where I have the R file. So R Markdown file, wherever I saved it, it will be saving everything on this folder. This is the most important part. So you will see that I gave you the Markdown, and then you can also create HTML file. So let's say I want to knit them into PDF or HTML. You just need to hit the HTML and it will create an HTML file. And this HTML file, you will see that it's saved on your folder. Okay, so I also gave you these 2. You can look at these 2. 2 more items is that whenever we are working on R Markdown or any R file, it's the same thing. So if you need to install any package, you can go to packages and you can say install, and you can write down, let's say I ask you to install ggplot, so you can say ggplot and install in here. Or if you don't see your let's say R Markdown, then you can just click on here, Markdown, sorry, R Markdown. So that means if you click on here, it will start installing. If you click, and then you need to say install, then it will install. Any package you need to install, you can just type the name, then it will start installing. And help option, let's say you need help on some file, let's type it here. So let's say I want to know how we can use plot. So plot is a function, so how we can use plot. So if I add question mark, then the name of the function, so you use the plot function. In the plot function, we use the x-axis versus y-axis. It gives you the help in here, so you can see it's giving you the help. So that means how you are going to write the program. You have to write the plot function, then the x is in x-axis, y is in y-axis. Other parameters you can use, you can see it's written in here. Also, how you can write a plot function. It gives you many ideas. So you can sometimes just copy that plot. You can copy and then you can just paste here. So you'll see that it's giving you speed versus distribution of a cars is a R data. So it actually shows you how the plot works. So I hope you will be successfully installing R, or if you have any problem, you can just install without installing. You can use the RStudio Cloud and follow these steps I showed you. And then in this lecture slide, you will see that I gave you step-by-step procedure how you can install or how you can use R Markdown on the web or just in here. So it's really simple. All you need to do is to follow this video and then start working on programming in R. Thank you.